G'day, Stu from UAVFutures. Welcome to our Happy Flying, our weekly streaming episodes where we talk all things drones, all things FPV. We go through a few little checks and then I make sure the audio is working, all that sort of stuff. We talk to you guys. This is the best part of my working week. So thanks for tuning in wherever you are around the world. We're going to be answering your questions as well. So if you are new to FPV, you want to ask something, or maybe you've been in the hobby for a long time, but you just want a bit of an update or talk shop, talk about all things drones, this is what this segment is going to be about, as well as some really cool stuff we've got to talk about, and I guess some pretty significant events that we're going to be talking about as well. We do always touch a little bit on mental health and supporting those people as well, but we are talking about the DJI BAN, which is probably going to be happening in the USA, like a very, very, very strong chance. I think that's what everybody's expecting to happen. We're going to talk a little bit about like what that means for Americans. We need to talk about the DJI Neo 2, which has been released for, we're going to be having a look at that in a little bit as well. Not for you USA pilots though. We're going to be talking about the pros and cons of each system. So if you are looking to get into the hobby today and you're like, okay, what options do I actually have? Because there has been a bit of a shakeup, and especially because such a large percentage of FPV pilots are in the US, what can those pilots do? So some recommendations for them moving forward. We're going to be talking a little bit of an update about the ELRS trademark that happened and some of the rigmarole around that situation. Thankfully, it's good news that we have. And then we're going to be talking about this drone right here. So I just finished reviewing. This is the Dollyfly 25. I really, really like this drone. And then I want to show you possibly one of the best FPV videos, or one of the best freestyle pilots. I want to give a bit of a shout out and highlight and show somebody who's doing some amazing things with their craft that just make my mind explode. So anyway, let's see who is in the chat. Let me know what you've been flying up to. Let me know what have you been up to. What have you been flying? Did you get a chance to go out and fly this weekend? We had Halloween here in Australia, where we took the kids around and they did some trick-or-treating around the neighborhood. It was really fun. And I think I saw somebody flying like a little drone ghost or something. They put like a little thing, printed out thing on top of their drone. That was kind of cool. It's just a little one. However, it was awesome. So let me know what you guys have been up to as well. And we'll see who is here in the chat. I can see a couple of members as well. We've got Sparoony here, Johnny DRC, or I should say he needs to change his name there, but you can still see him here. And let's just catching up a little bit on the chat. And I can see some people as well asking some questions like, I'm new to drones. What should I get with all the bans? We're going to be talking about that a little bit as well. And then let's dive right in. And the Gotist is saying we're trying to sell his DJI gear, but deciding whether to sell it now or later. What are your thoughts? Yeah, we're going to be talking about all that. Hey, Chris. Hey, Double A. We're going to be talking all things like the ban and what that means for the future of the hobby, and specifically as well what that means for DJI pilots. But this is the most important part of the stream, so I really need you to focus. Just lock in now for a second, because the most important thing about this stream is actually you guys. And I know we talk a lot about drones all the time, but I truly mean it when I say that you are valued, you are cared about, you are not alone. My phone is making some noises in the background right there, but I'm really grateful that you are here, and often we don't get to hear that enough. Like especially coming from the internet, which is often a place that can be associated with a little bit of negativity. I would like to say that here in the FPV community, you are valued, you are cared about, and we always talk about, before we talk about drones, we spend a couple of minutes just letting you know that you are valued. So I don't want you to feel like you might be feeling isolated and alone, and I'm here to let you know that that is not the case. And specifically, if you are struggling with some mental health issues and you think to yourself, you know what, I'm just not feeling right, please reach out, go and speak to some professionals. I know what it's like. I've been there in the past, and I just want to let people know that they don't have to suffer in silence. They don't have to suffer alone. It's not weak to speak. And yeah, I'm really grateful that you're here. So if you need to hear that and you're thinking, is he talking to me? I am. This random Aussie dude in Australia staring at his camera at 10 o'clock in the morning is talking to you, letting you know that you are cared about. So I just want to put that out there. Let's see. Let's jump in though and talk about the first things first, and that is, of course, the DJI ban, which is likely going to be happening in America on the 23rd of December. Now, I did do a video about this, and a lot of this stems from this article right here, which I'm going to jump over to. Hopefully my computer doesn't break. So this is a bit of a background in case some people did miss that. So the FCC, this is a bit of an update. They've given themselves some powers to retrospectively essentially not ban, but say, hey, you can't have these things in the country. We'll be talking about that. But they have until the 23rd of December right here to make sure that DJI is not a national security threat. Now, I did a little post and I asked the community, do they think that DJI is a threat to the national security of America? I haven't actually seen the results here. So why doesn't that go to my channel? I've got to manually type it in actually. And I'm going to see the results because I probably should have checked that before I start here. So if I have a look at my posts. All right. We had over 1,300 entries. I should, let's see, jump over here. Look at this. Should DJI be banned in the USA? 15% of people said, yep, they're a security risk. And 85% said, no, they are fine for FPV. And that is 1,300 votes. So that is, that's only 200 people. I think 15% of 1,300 is 200. Somebody can let me know that right there. But yeah, 200 people said, yeah, okay, they are a security risk. And then the rest, like 1,100 people said that no, they should be fine for FPV. I tend to feel the exact same way. But if there was a ban that happened because they were a national security risk, then you'd be like, okay, maybe they find something wrong with the company and it's doing like, oh, this is a security risk. We shouldn't be having this. We don't want this implication here in our country. I understand that. And I think a country is within its rights to say, oh, this is a bit of a risk. However, the interesting part is if those are not a security risk, why are they going to get banned? Now, in order to not get banned, what needs to happen is an agency needs to do a bit of a review and say, hey, you know what? These aren't posing any risks to us. You can have these here. It's going to be fine. However, and this kicked off a bit of a storm actually on my YouTube when I did the video, that it's a little bit of a tricky political situation. And I'm not going to dive too deep into the politics here because I understand like it's the internet and oh no, what's happening to my camera? Uh-oh, this isn't good news. Okay, we just went to talk about politics. They're in my computer. They don't want this getting out. All right, bear with me here. Let's see what we can do. Interesting. Let's have a look. If I turn this off and back on. Okay. Yep, that's all good. That's fine. And I go here. Hey, we are back. Look at that. Okay. So look, this is a little bit political, but I'm going to try to cover both sides. And I just want to talk about the actual drones and the craft themselves and maybe the industry as well. So the long and short of it, or my take of it, was that there has been, and we're going to talk about Skydio, and yes, we will talk about Biden, and we will talk about Trump, and we will talk about unusual machines. I just need everybody to keep their hat on. In my video, I was pointing out that an agency needs to basically review this to say, all right, you can fly your DJI products around. This right here, you can actually use this DJI O4 Air unit in the States. That's going to be fine. You know, that should be good, or whatever else DJI brings to market. The reason why I didn't think that was going to take place is because that essentially Donald Trump Jr.'s son has a stake in Unusual Machines. He's on the advisory board for Unusual Machines, and the biggest competitor to them in the market is DJI. So if you remove your son's biggest competitor from the market of a company that they are involved with and has shares in, then that's probably good business for them. Now, a lot of people say, oh, look, that they're not going to mix politics with business, and a good politician knows to put the needs of their citizens first over financial profit for their family. I'll leave people up in the comments to talk about whether they think that's happening or not. And then some other people are like, oh, well, this happened well before. This happened with Biden and Skydio, and that's why they want DJI out of the market. And here's what people I would like to say to those people, it doesn't matter who is in power if you are banning a drone for non-security reasons based on the benefit of your friends or of a family member. I think people would be just as upset at either administration if they were removing DJI on the premise that it's going to benefit these other companies and it's not actually a security risk. I think that's what some people seem to be missing here. I am upset if the DJI gets removed from the USA market for the USA pilots on the false guise that this is somehow not about money. Like if this is a danger to us as us allowing to have this as a US citizens, or it's spying on us, or if it's being sold to us as that, and that's why it's not getting passed, I'm going to be upset if the real reason is because it is politically and financially motivated, regardless of which side that is coming from. So I think all USA pilots should be pretty pissed off, actually, regardless of which side of the fence you sit on, unless you believe it has nothing to do with money and it actually does have to do with national security, which is, right here. If you're one of these 200 people, and let's pretend that I should have asked, if you're in the US, do you think this? If you're one of these 200 people that think it is a security risk, then you're fine with it being banned. All these people who don't think it's a security risk, that's 85% here. That's a pretty big number. So I don't know. We'll have a look at what other people are saying. Is Chris Croft says, I have an issue when they are pretty much refusing to allow DJI to get an audit. Yeah, this is the interesting part too. Like if it gets done and it is found to be a security risk, I think a lot more people would be like, oh, okay, well, I didn't know that. This is a bit of a problem. And maybe they're reading out SD cards or whatever situation that you want it to be. So yeah, I'm not going to read every comment here because I don't want to incite a riot, and I understand that people get upset about, they think that one side is all bad and the other side is all bad, and I really don't like to see that. All I'm saying is whoever on either side is in control of getting this done, it should be done on the basis for the American citizens and not the profiteering of one family or another family. I think that's, no matter which side you sit on, you can't defend that. It's just, it's not on. Even if one side started it, the other side shouldn't follow suit and be like, oh, well, if Biden started this, then it's okay because it's all his. No, then Trump should be like, this isn't allowed. We're going to set this right. We're going to review this properly and decide if it's a security threat. So anyway, someone's saying, I don't read comments. I ignore them all equally. Someone says they can now change the language however they want. They gave themselves the ability to make changes in the name of national security at any time. They want these products banned today. Now, do I think that they're a security threat? No. Do I think drones are like so far down on the things of like actually worrying about your society to have, and especially in a dangerous society like in the US, if you look at other things that, if you're worried about the citizens having these things, then I think there's some other things that they need to maybe address right there. However, with all that said and done, we've got until the 23rd of December. I saw Mads text. I caught this when I was actually walking home from dropping the kids off at school. And he was saying that he thinks it will be suspended, or, there's a possibility that it'll just be like, oh, we'll deal with this in another 12 months or a bit of a reprieve. Nobody really knows what is going to happen. I suspect that the 23rd, we probably will. It's very likely that they'll say, all right, we've decided that you can't have any more new DJI products in the country. And then it's going to be very, very difficult to get those products into the country. Now, what does this mean for a USA pilot and DJI pilots moving forward? And what should they do? Number one, do not buy into the DJI ecosystem if you are a new pilot. I do not recommend that. It's the people who I really feel sorry for that are in a bit of a tricky place are the pilots who have saved up their dollars, bought maybe this year with the launch of the DJI O4 Pro, and they've bought a set of goggles, and they've bought like 1 or 2 air units. Those people have an amazing system that's cost them the best part of $1,000. And this might have been even before tariffs. Maybe you spent even more money and you have paid that as an American citizen. You have spent your money, and it's had tariffs on top. So you could well spend like over $1,000 for a pair of goggles and an air unit, maybe even close to $2,000, depending on how much the tariffs were at the time that you purchased your goods. And I know that, they say that other people, it's not the citizens that pay the tariffs, but I'm here to tell you that yes, it 100% is. And anybody who has bought that because they really love FPV, that's where my heart goes out to them, because now they are in a terrible spot. How they're not going to be able to get new gear. They're probably not going to be able to get their goggles serviced. Like if you are sending them out of the country to try to get them back in, to get them fixed or repaired, or if you have any issues, you are left with this gray market currently at the moment. Stock levels are almost non-existent since the tariffs have come into effect. DJI has effectively evaporated from the US market, not because they're illegal, not because they've been banned, but they just could not be bothered with the rigmarole that was being imposed upon them. And now you have a whole bunch of retailers who are scrambling, trying to help, trying to support their customers who have purchased DJI. And what do? Like, that's where, if you are that pilot, there is a limited set of options. Number one, you can keep your gear, you can fly it around, and maybe it's going to affect how you fly. Are you going to fly a little bit more carefully? I certainly would. If I only had 2 air units, it would absolutely change the way that I flew. I would probably give up freestyling and just do gentle cruising and enjoying FPV. And I would be extremely careful with the sort of craft that I fly. I would have crazy amounts of camera protection because I can't get a replacement. And number two, you could hold your gear and maybe, I guess, hedge your bets on, is it going to be banned? Because the price of DJI gear is going to go up. And as that gear becomes less and less available, supply and demand, it is going to be worth more money. So maybe you want to sell it in the future. It might not be a bad idea to hold onto your gear and then sell that in the future. And we've already seen that with things like air units in the past. Getting them into the country, even though they weren't banned, it was very, very difficult. The price of, like, if you have a look on eBay, I don't know, can someone do a quick little Google on what the price of a DJI 04 air unit is in the States right now? That'd be interesting if someone could just let me know on like Amazon or eBay, over like as a USA seller. Let me know what the price of that is. So yeah, you can hold on to your gear or you can sell it. And then the other option is, then this is the people that I really care about, is if you want to fly today. I'm not talking about FPV in terms of investment strategies or trying to make money in the long run. I'm talking about, what can those pilots do to fly, to have fun, to fly like they used to, when none of this ban nonsense or tariffs or anything was going on. So if we went back like 2 years and you had access to a whole bunch of different FPV systems, what can we do? And the answer, and this is in Bardwell's words, so I'm sure that I saw one of his clips like last week or something where he was saying the same sort of thought that I'm about to say here, is the closest thing at the moment to the DJI experience is the Walksnail system. The Walksnail system, like I'm talking about the Avatar system, I really like it. It's Stickman Steve's choice. When he goes and flies around, he is flying with the Avatar. I can see a whole bunch of chats too. I will talk about them, and we will talk about the future of that. Someone's saying it's $777 for an 04 air unit. And if that is US, like that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And Johnny DRC is saying you can only get new air units when you purchase a new quad. So that was one of the recommendations. If you are desperate, you can try and purchase like this sub 250 dolly fly with the 04 air unit inside. And when that comes through, it might not get picked up as a DJI product because it is all inside this one drone. That will be different though if the FCC puts the internal product on there and does a bit of a review and says that, that air unit is not allowed to be imported without a special license. That's where there is a big, big difference. So Get FPV has 04 air units in stock for $119 US. Let's check this out. He is not lying. That's crazy. Okay, let's have a look here. Look, check this out. This is, I'm sure some people are scrambling right now. I don't know when this went live. That's wild. If I'm a USA pilot here, if you are watching this, I would probably buy like 4 of these. This board is not perfect. I bet when I check this tomorrow that this is not going to be in stock. Let's go to DIY FPV and have a look here. Is this across multiple stores? Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, look at this. So this might need to be a bit of an announcement. If you go to DIY FPV right now and you want to get a DJI 04 air unit before they evaporate from existence and you might never be able to get them again, yeah, just head over to DJI FPV, type it in, and check this out. We can actually have a look at the stores. Pyro Drone, Race Day Quads, and Get FPV all have in stock. So we just had a look at his Get FPV in stock. Let's have a look here. Now, I wonder, are there any of these pre-orders? Now, let's see. This might be the same sort of stock that is related because I know Get FPV and Race Day Quads are under the bit of the same umbrella right now. And let's have a look at Pyro Drone in stock. This is the wildest thing. I was not expecting this. Okay. Do not buy them off eBay right now. Like you're not going to be able to get the 04 Pro, but I don't know. Thank you for letting me know this. That is wild. Absolutely wild. Okay. If you're in the USA, this is my recommendation before they get banned and you don't know, this might be the last chance that you ever have to go and buy a DJI 04 product without spending, we just had a look on chat, $777. That was US for the Pro version because that's like off a seller on Amazon or eBay or something. So, all right. I think people might be getting FOMO. This is what I would be doing. I'm absolutely would be having FOMO watching this and be like, I'm going to go buy some of these. To do with what you would like that information. It looks like the light is in stock. The main question here is in the States is which Walksnail system to buy. Either wait for the Ascent system to fully release or buy the Avatar system now. That's from Ryan. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted. That's some interesting information there about what is in stock. Your options are, and this was in Bardwell's words as well, the closest thing to a DJI experience once DJI is banned, and if you can never get some DJI products again, is the Walksnail Avatar system from Cadex. Then we have other systems like Hdzero. That is not like, and I'll link Bardwell's video where he doesn't recommend that in terms of like range and penetration, and he always says that Hdzero, and I agree with him here, is 100% for the races. Like if you want to go to the races, use Hdzero or use analog. Those pilots were never flying DJI anyway. This is the best experience you will have that is closest to the DJI system is the Walksnail. I usually put it at like an 8 out of 10, an 8.5 out of 10 if the DJI 04 system, the Pro, was a 10 out of 10. That would be my comparative part. Now, we had a look at, somebody said about the Ascent system. My main question here in the States is which Walksnail system to buy. Either wait for the Ascent system to fully release or buy the Avatar now. I do not believe that the Ascent system is as good as the Avatar system. And there's no perfect answer. I don't know what Cadex is doing tomorrow, let alone in the future. But my results when I was flying around with my Protoss system, and I had a very, very early system that seemed to have like black and white firmware, which no one else has, and some other issues about it, I would still get the Walksnail system. That's my recommendation. Yes, I know that it's a couple of years old. Yes, some things might change in the future. I don't know how long it's going to be supported for, but there is still, all their products still are in stock. So that I wouldn't be, and you can't even get the Ascent VTXs. We don't even know what the Ascent Protoss system is going to be released as in the future. We don't know how much it's going to cost. It's meant to be a cheap digital option. I don't hate the image quality of the Ascent. It's not my favorite. I still think that the Avatar Walksnail system looks better. So that would be my recommendation based on all the information that I have. Let's see. Milton is saying there's something that hasn't been mentioned. Walksnail and Hdzero. I bet they are going to step up to fulfill US market for digital. And do you think Walksnail and Hdzero in closed doors are celebrating? I don't know if they are celebrating. It's not about being banned. If you had have looked at the previous stock levels, CADX has probably been selling quite well in the States because there is no option for DJI. So there definitely would be a market shift over to be like, all right, well, I can't get this. I want to fly the next best thing that's closest to DJI. That is the CADX Walksnail system. And I think Hdzero, they have such a strong foothold in racing that they were going to get those pilots anyway. They were always going to buy Hdzero goggles because they didn't care about visuals. They wanted that low latency. They wanted to go to racing. They like how those systems worked. Yeah. Johnny DRC is saying is like in Walksnail is not as good as DJI, but no one was. And do you think that OG air units are better than Walksnail? No, I don't. I think that the Moonlight is better than like the original DJI systems. Getting a Hdzero with analog mod is a safe option. At least you can get a VRX later in the future as an option, and the community always finds a way. Yeah, if you that's probably a really good point. If you want to get a set of goggles and it has a HDMI in, that's going to go a long way. Now, different goggles do different things. I guess it's a factor too of how much do you want to pay. I think that the Hdzero goggles are fantastic. And if you want to put a module on the front or an external VRX, that is a great option to think about. However, it's also probably the most expensive way that you can do that. Buying a set of Hdzero goggles too is a lot more money than any other goggle that's on the market. But it would be a fantastic option moving forward. Then you get the best of both worlds, except you don't get DJI. So yeah. All right. Pros and cons of each system. I got and Johnny DRC is saying analog forever. Analog is never going anywhere. There's so much of it. The gear is so cheap. There is such a huge backlog around here as well. So I don't know. I love my Hdzero goggles too. QA could be a little better though, especially for the price. So that's from Hippie2923. I haven't actually flown with the goggles too right there. And in the US, bind and flies with O4s and O4 Pros are widely available. I think DJI is just going to come out with third-party goggles or come out with DJI modules for American consumers. Yeah, this is where it's different though. If there is a ruling, that is different. Then trying to get something with an O4 Pro actually inside it, if it's written on the box and you have to declare what's inside, is significantly different than just like it as it is currently while we're waiting. Okay, let's Hdzero already have an NDAA compliant version, so they have a version they can sell in the US. I'm not sure what NDAA means. If you could break that acronym down for me, thank you. Okay. We're going to move on because it is 10:30 right here. I do want to speak about some other things. I want to talk about ELRS, and I want to thank everybody who is here in the chat as well. And I love that it didn't get too political. And even though we mentioned the ban and we mentioned Trump and we mentioned Skydio and Biden and Unusual Machines and Trump's son, like I really appreciate that everybody here was pretty courteous. And this is where I have to say, it's a bit of possibly a grumble, but I see sometimes some comments when I talk about videos here where people say, oh, that's in the USA. Who cares? Who cares what they do over there? And my answer is, I do. Why do I care? They're like, oh, it's not going to affect you, Stu. Why do you even worry? Because I care about the people. I care about the pilots. Anybody who says, oh, that's in the USA, I don't care. I have to wonder where their lack of empathy is of like, don't you just be like, oh, I wish people could have a good time? I just can't believe that people post that online. They're like, oh, I don't care. I even saw someone being like sucked in the USA when it's like, oh, some people are having not a good time here. They're about to maybe be removed from the hobby. And I love this hobby. So This is probably going out to anybody who says, oh, why don't you get, it's not about if it affects you. It's about having some empathy for people that it does affect. Somebody out there is going to not be doing flying because of what is happening to the US market. And when they're not flying, I think FPV changes people's lives in such a positive, amazing way. And I want them to be able to experience that because that's what good people do. They care about each other. And the people who are on the other side of the fence who are like, I don't care, or why do you even care about this? Who cares? The whole world isn't set in the USA. No, I understand that. No one's saying it is. We're purely talking about them in a way of compassion and caring for them. So someone's saying it seems like a lot of those people lacked empathy, and I get maybe like also I don't know what's going on in their life. Maybe they need a little bit more love for them in their life. Maybe they have some things about themselves that they're quite upset about, so they're pushing that on some other people. I don't know what their issue is, and I wish them all the best. All I'm saying is I do care about the people in the USA. I care about every single FPV pilot having a good time, and that's why I cover what is happening in the States, and especially when it is so many people. It is, I think it's about 40% of my audience is from the USA. So I don't know. But it is not even about that it affects, if it's going to affect me in any way, shape, or form. It is purely that I care about you. If you are in the States, I care about you and your journey with FPV and getting the most from this hobby. And you have my condolences and sympathies. And I am trying to do as much as I can to help this hobby and providing you other options of like, okay, what else can you do to get flying? That's why I make these videos. And that's why I make stores like DIY FPV, where crazily right now we can see things in stock. I wonder if anybody's purchased these. Oh, an error. Okay. I don't know what's going on right there. DIY FPV. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah, so go check that out if you want to find out what's in stock. Chris Bean saying, you're a good person. Thank you. The rules won't affect us or affect use or activation, only supply. But they can change things to say, all right, in the airways, you're not allowed to do this. This is not certified. This is where it could probably get a little bit dangerous. I don't think that would stop most people. Some people care about following every single law. I'm a big believer in like just be a good person. Don't fly near people and property, and whatever you're doing out in the woods by yourself, if it's not affecting other people, I don't think too many people are going to worry about that. Now, don't take that as like general. That's not legal advice. I'm just talking about generally in your everyday life. Try to be a good person that doesn't annoy people. Do you think companies like iFlight and GEP-RC might start offering quads with other systems like Walksnail? iFlight definitely not, because I believe they're a subsidiary of DJI, but we might see some others that start to see, I want to sell in the USA. I'm going to switch over and put some other systems in here. That is one advantage that DJI had as well. They had a lot of bind and fly options where you could get the DJI 04 inside. That's why I really like the Lightning V2, because there was a lot of variations between analog, Walksnail. I don't think there was a Hdzero version, but analog, Walksnail, DJI, and then you had like different receiver options in there as well. There was a lot of different ones that you could get. All right. I want to talk about this. This is the DJI Neo 2, which has just been released in China. And this is not on the USA store. So I thought this was kind of interesting. And I guess who this is for. And we're going to be seeing more and more drones like this. I think the days of actually getting drones with batteries hanging out them and XT60s, we are moving more and more into a place where this is the sort of drone that you're going to be seeing, almost a little bit like how 3D printers have had their rise into everyday households. More and more people are going to be getting drones like this. The interesting things about this one, though, which we're sort of losing a little bit. We're gaining some things and losing something as well. Now, if I look at the price, is it down the bottom right here? Or is it, maybe it's on the front page. Okay, here we go. So it is 1,500 yuan, which I think if I had a look at the other one, it's 1,200. And the interesting part here is this bit. So, okay, like the resolution and things, I don't think people are going to be too excited about. I don't know how many people record in 4K 100 anyway. And then especially when you're watching it on your phone where most media is consumed, meh. But here, one has a dual axis gimbal and one has a single axis gimbal, which means quite a lot. And this, I've seen some other people talking about, this was also a mad stream where he couldn't find out if this gimbal right here maybe, like, you can't do acro mode. This drone, from what he was saying, could not do acro mode because there was probably, his speculation was there'd be too much stress put on inside the gimbal where it's just going to break. So when you are flying this drone around, it is going to fly in a much more traditional sense. Don't expect to be doing any acro or crazy maneuvers. The other part I found interesting, if you look at the range right here of the Wi-Fi, where is it? I didn't understand how this could be so different of like Wi-Fi 500 meters, Wi-Fi 50 meters. Does that seem like a typo to anybody else? I don't know. It can go a little bit faster. I don't know why drones, like 49 gigabytes of storage space. Is it just me? If I'm paying that much money, I don't know how much 1500 yuan is. Maybe someone could put that in the chat for me. If I'm paying 1500 yuan for a drone, what, like, can we just put like no other, that internal storage? That seems awfully small in 2026 when people are going to get this. Someone's saying they're about 400 USD in Malaysia. Okay. That's not as expensive as I thought, actually. I don't know why I thought that would be more. It does have some interesting, like if you look here, some extra sensors on the front for obstacle detection. Where's a better? Here we go. That's kind of cool. I don't know if the Neo 2 had one of those. I never really kept up with the Neo 2. This one is interesting that it, well, number one, it's not going to be doing acro mode and it does have a 2-axis gimbal. But number two, this is the first time this has ever been not released in the USA market as well. So I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. I don't mind people having these a drone in their pocket. They can just film some stuff when they want to, and it's sort of doing everything. Another one that I'm actually really interested in is this. This is significantly some different tech though. And I don't know if I've seen one video on these. I don't know when these will be available, but a set of FPV goggles with the anti-gravity A1. Like, this is an 8K drone. I don't know who has a display to watch something back in 8K. Now, that's probably because this is going to be recording in a way. I don't know the actual, how you classify that 8K, because this is a 360 drone where it records everything, and then you can simply turn your head back to watch the footage. That's what it looks like. Or in post-production, you can frame everything exactly how you wanted to. So it's a pretty wild drone. And where's the video? Play the intro. Please don't have YouTube sound. Ugh, I don't want to watch all this part. All right. I wonder, it looks like too, the front of the goggles displays what we're seeing. This one I don't think is going to be cheap. I imagine it's very strange to fly though, where you just be focusing on flying in straight lines because you don't need to move the camera at all. It's just, it's capturing everything. So, yeah. Some filmmakers are probably very interested in what this can do, but it's going to take a lot of different, like, sort of to reorientate your brain to learn how to use that. You're no longer piloting a craft to get the best camera angle. You can just fly something past it. I'm just getting some Inception movie right here. Anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. Let's see, I'm going to answer one of your questions now. 2 4K cameras that stitch together for 360, like the Insta360. Yeah. Okay, so that's how it's getting 8K. I want to answer a question. This one is from Ryan. Is there any tips to improving VTX signals, or do you know of any channels that help with deep diving FPV systems? Do you mean digitally or analog? The best way to improve your signal, you've got a couple of different options, and I'm going to specifically talk about analog here, unless you tell me something different. Digital is a lot more tricky. If you would like to improve your analog VTX reception, number one, we need to go through a couple of troubleshooting steps. Make sure that you are on the same channel and frequency on both your goggles and also your drone. Do not use auto scan. You need to manually make sure that, like, if you're going to be using F4, Fat Shark channel 4, I believe that's 5800, and make sure that is set on the drone. Make sure that is also set on the goggles. If you don't do that, you're going to have a terrible time. Do not use auto scan. Friends don't let friends auto scan. I have a mug, like a coffee mug, that says friends don't let friends auto scan. Number two, you need to double check your antennas and your antenna connections. So make sure that they are both, if you have a right hand circular polarized antenna, make sure you've also got that on your goggles. Don't have a left hand polarized antenna on your goggles and a right hand polarized on your drone. They're not going to work very well at picking up the reception. And number three, make sure that the connectors are correct. So on your goggles, you can get RP SMA and standard SMA connectors. They have the internal part of the coaxial needs to make a solid connection. It is sort of like putting, you need a male and a female. If you put two, who's this calling me now? Decline. Okay. I should put my phone on silent, actually. Bear with me. Yeah, you need to make sure that you have like a male and a female connector, because you can actually get some that have two holes and they'll screw onto each other, but there's going to be no internal connection to receive the antenna. And also double check the UHFL connector or whatever connector is on the drone side as well. And then number three, he's saying, I was first thinking analog, but digital will also help. And then you have things like increasing your power level. You can do that on the drone. Like, the more power that you pump out, it is going to be able to penetrate and go further. And the type of antenna as well. So if you are flying around straight in front of you, having something like a patch antenna or a helical antenna on your goggles is going to help. You can get extra diversity modules or some fancy modules that pick up a better reception that you can feed into your FPV feed as well. And flying around in a less noisy RF environment also helps. So whether that be things like Wi-Fi route, it could be you have a really noisy RF space, or you could be flying around somewhere which is getting a lot of signals bouncing around from your drone. So maybe inside a warehouse or something with a lot of steel and it's tricky to penetrate. You can also increase better visuals by flying around just in a different environment. So, and also understanding that you are going to get little, analog is not perfect, and a lot of FPV pilots don't actually see the snow through there. It's never going to look as good as digital. So yeah, that's my tips. If there is something specific that is happening, start at the bottom of that list and then work your way up. Johnny D are saying don't use stock antennas. I actually don't hate stock antennas. I've had some okay ones, but you can also get some dodgy ones as well. Let's see. And then when it comes to digital, the only way I can think about getting is it's some of the same advice. You can get some aftermarket antennas like on the Cadex Goggles X. You can get some like longer antennas. Of course, follow all that some advice. Make sure that they're matched and like the correct polarization, because I believe they might use left hand. And you can also increase the power as well. All right, we've got Crazy Rooster in here. Glad that you could join us. I'm looking at the time here. Okay, this is something that I would like to mention, and this is good news actually, after having a little bit of a bad ban rant about the state of DJI in America. And look at this. So this is over on the Express ELRS webpage. Recently, we did a video about how their trademark was under threat from some people who had lodged some trademark claims in US and China. And look at this, when I'm not going to go through this whole thing. Good news, the unauthorized trademark applications are gradually being rejected, and they're making considerable progress in protecting the project's identity worldwide. And a few things. So the original one in China has been rejected by the party that wanted to try to take over the name of ELRS. And then in the States, the other good news is that right here, the person who was or I guess the firm that was representing the original trademark, like the bad entity in this space that didn't have our best interest, has been like, I actually don't want to do this. I'm withdrawing from there. So they don't have, at the moment, they're going to have to find somebody else to navigate this process without legal representation. So that's makes it even trickier in the US for the negative actor to take over ELRS. And then we have a look here. They give a whole bunch of thanks to some people. And it's cost, look at this. That's a lot. That's like almost 10,000 US dollars to go through this process. And since, look, this is nice, since publishing this blog thread, the community and manufacturers have donated over 20 grand. And that's great that we have supported ELRS like this. The upsetting part is that money, that 10 grand, isn't going toward development. It's purely going towards a namesake to stop this for ELRS. So that's frustrating that we had to spend this much just to continue making a great product and protect ELRS. So I don't know, but I'm really, really happy that since then, it looks like it's been taken care of in terms of, like, at least they're not in the negative. And some of these funds, once this is all taken care of, I'm sure can be used to make ELRS even better. We use ELRS all the time. I think it is such a powerful, impressive system, and it's my system of choice. It's really between this and some pilots still really like Crossfire. They're the only two. I think I saw one pilot maybe at the Nationals when I went to the recent race event that wasn't using ELRS. Someone else saying, I'm so grateful for ELRS. Now ELRS can fill the rights. I don't know what you mean there, Johnny DRC. But yeah, it's good news. So it's nice to have those little wins moving forward. So it's not over yet, but it's definitely moving in the right direction. And people don't understand too, back in the day, we used to have so many fail safes and dropouts, like, I guess, compared to what we have today. I cannot remember the last time that I had a fail safe on ELRS, except for when I ripped an antenna off the board. And that was when I got caught in a prop and ripped it straight out, and I had to go in the mangroves and walking through the mud out there and at the front of my property trying to find it. Other than that, I have not had a fail safe. Where when I flew some old iFlight Turnigies and not Turnigy, not iFlight, Turnigy. Someone else can help me. It was like an IA6S or something, whatever the protocol was. Right there. This is gonna drive me nuts, actually. FlySky. Some old FlySky radios. Thank you. Yeah, it was pretty tragic back in the day. Someone says, Anthony says he's still a Crossfire fan. Yeah, put it in the chat now. What do you fly with? What do you fly with, and what did you start with? I would be interested to know if there's pilots here who have just started on ELRS and they can't imagine what it was like. And also the receivers are so small. We used to have, I remember some receivers which were probably the same size. That wouldn't be unheard of, to have a receiver about this size that you would have to put into your drone. FreeSky nearly ended FPV for me. Yeah, I used FreeSky for a long time. That's what I went to at the very start, and then I went to the FlySky for a little while, and then I went to TBS, and then I went to Edge TX. ELRS. Oh my gosh. And Crazy Rooster says, started with Fly Sky, switched to ELRS about 2 years ago. Johnny DRC, first Crossfire, now ELRS. You've had the good stuff there, Johnny DRC, both great systems. Too easy. Alrighty. The final thing, I guess, that I just want to highlight this here because this is great. I did want to talk about this drone a little bit. If you want to find the full version though, this is the Dolly Fly 25. Really fun little drone. Probably the part that I wasn't expecting. It flew way better than I thought it would. So I had a lot of fun with this, and even so much so that I had to rewrite my script for this because I wanted to talk about like drones. Are we moving towards this sort of thing in the future and away from like open craft design? Why do more and more drones come like this? I went and flew the thing and I was like, oh, this is way more exciting to actually talk about how this is flying. I didn't expect it to fly so well. So there should be a video somewhere if you want to go check that out. Other people are saying they use ELRS on their wings and started on Futaba in the kit in the 80s. Wow. Okay. Yeah, you don't hear many people using Futaba. I think they're quite expensive nowadays. Now, check this out. This is called On the Flip Side, and it is one of the this is from one of the best freestyle pilots in our hobby. Every time Ox Plumes drops a video, it just completely blows my mind. So I've got the sound off, and I'm not going to watch the whole thing here because I want you to go to his channel and watch it. However, there is a part when he is here that is it this it looks abandoned because how does he know what is happening there? Is this not absolutely wild? Let's watch this again in slow motion. Settings, speed. Just so your brain, we're on half speed here. We're about to head up into, is this the second floor or third floor? Head up into this room, do a little bit of a spin. Now, oh, okay, we're already in there. Okay, we're going to start from here. We're heading up inside. We go up an elevator shaft, do a flip. Now we are on the second floor of a building, back down through some random hole, and then, oh no, we're going to pop up here, spin around, down the original elevator shaft backwards, and now we're back to being outside again. And oh, let's just pop out the door for fun. Like that trick there alone, just even going out the door is impressive. I can't believe I have to watch this in slow motion. So camera angle is everything, but that's insane. It's not, absolutely, the camera angle would be crazy high, but the amount of skill that this pilot has, and we've showcased his work before. Even just like, oh, I bet you've never seen so many things done with a soccer goal or a football goal, whatever you want to call it, wherever you are. I feel dizzy just watching this, and this is in slow-mo. Like right there, we're already on the other side. We've gone back through here. We didn't even see it happening. And I love that you can take such a simple object like a goalpost and have some amazing flights with it. So yeah, really, really cool stuff right there. A really cool video. I'm going to encourage everybody to go watch it. He also has a bit of artistic talent as well in the direction that his videos goes. I'm going to put that in the chat down below. Other people saying, I wish they could fly like that. He's so incredible, both inspiring and bewildering. That's from Crazy Rooster right there. Maybe parts of the clip are reversed. It doesn't, like if you reverse this, it doesn't matter which direction, even if this was reversed. Okay, you are flying backwards here. That means all this part has to be backwards, or the front part. Whichever way that this is going, and this is a different way. Oh, so you're saying, did he fly up and do backward? No, because look, if you look here, we get a little bump at the ground right there when we land. Well, but that doesn't happen at the start. Look, we're just flying straight in. So there's no little bump at the start there. And also on the exit, it's different than at the start as well. So we've flown in. You guys can't even see what I'm doing. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Here. Look here. Where are we? We're flying in. Notice no bump right there before we entered. Do our magic. I don't even know what to call all these things. And then, okay, we're still good. Then watch. You could say, oh, we've just reversed it there. I understand what you're saying, but that's not the case because there's a little bump there at the bottom where I think he's tapped the ground, and then we're exiting on a different path from the building as well. So a completely different way that we've entered the building, unless you are amazing at editing. But I am here to tell you that that's not the case. This is just an amazing pilot. He's not trying to pull the wool over our eyes and trick us and do some fancy editing. Just somebody who is amazing at flying. So yeah. All right. Other than that, I need to actually have an announcement and say, this is to you guys out there. Thanks. Thanks for being here. The announcement is that you are special. Did you know that? Yes. You are cared about. You are valued. I'm really grateful that you are here. This really is the best part of my working week. I feel like I'm just meeting up with some friends, talking to them each week, talking about drones, and often we go off on some random tangents, but I am so grateful that you are here. It means a lot to me, and I'm just making this, I like to take the time at the end to say, you are valued, you are cared about, you are special, you are unique. Thank you for being here. You are not alone. And if you are one person out there who sometimes you might front up for a lot of people, you might always be there for your mates, you might always be very helpful to a lot of people, but humans, and especially blokes, are really bad at being there for themselves, and they don't often take time to reflect and just be kind to themselves. So I'm sending this message across the internet to you to say, I am proud of you. I am very grateful that you are here, and I'm not just saying that. I really mean that. So thank you. And if it is connecting with your ears and you say, Stu can't be talking to me, he has no idea what I'm doing, but I do like the sound of this message, and maybe, just maybe, I am talking to you. So thank you. I'll see you next week. I want to see you next week. I hope that you're here. All right. You guys are amazing. Put a random word in the chat, and then I will see you all in the next couple of days. If you haven't seen this video, go watch it. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised on what the dolly fly from sub 250 does. YouTube didn't push that video very hard, but I saw it's there. Go check it out. I think you'll like it. All right. Happy flying. Thanks, Happy Flyer RC. That's very, very kind of you. I like doing these too. So hearing those words that you appreciate it. It really is great to see everybody here. Thanks.